What happens when a lone woman faces off against the wild to save a dying gorilla? She expected danger, but not the lion's reaction. What followed left even veteran rangers speechless. Let me tell you something straight. The African savanna doesn't care if you've had a bad morning. You can show up with the best intentions, a full water bottle, and sunscreen SPF a million, and it'll still slap you with a story you didn't sign up for. My name's Sarah. I'm 57, and no, I don't volunteer for fun. I flew 8,000 miles from Arizona not to find myself, but to help save what's left of something real, the eastern lowland gorillas. And on that morning, with the sun frying my scalp through my ranger hat, I was supposed to take a few photos, tag a tree or two, and hike back to the station before the heat turned my bones to soup. That was the plan. Until I heard that sound. It wasn't a cry. It was a ripping scream. Guttural. Sharp enough to stop your lungs. I froze mid-step, my boots halfway sunk in red dirt. Another scream. Closer. I raised my binoculars, hands trembling more from instinct than fear, and there it was. A young gorilla. Trapped. Coiled up in something fat, slick, and far too familiar. A rock python. That snake wasn't hunting. It was claiming. No cameras now. No research. Just me, my rusted machete, and the part of me that doesn't wait around for official protocol. I dropped my gear and charged down the slope like I'd just found a purpose worth sweating for. The ground under me cracked like old bread. But I didn't stop. I didn't think. The gorilla's eyes met mine for a split second. Wide, helpless, screaming without sound. The python had 3 loops around his chest, and it was starting the slow, sickening squeeze. I don't know what I yelled. Maybe something unprintable. Doesn't matter. I slammed the machete straight into that coil like it owed me money. The snake didn't like that. It snapped toward me, fangs flaring. I danced back, heart jackhammering, and swung again. This time I hit bone. A crunch. The python hissed like steam from hell's kettle, and finally, its grip loosened. The gorilla collapsed like a torn puppet. He was breathing, barely. I knelt beside him, hands shaking, whispering whatever came to mind. "You're okay. I got you. We're okay." Lieutenant, we were not okay. No signal on my radio, no backup, no way out but forward. I tried to clean the worst of the wounds with my shirt. He was still, but his eyes tracked me, like he was trying to believe I was real. I've seen soldiers with less fear than what was in those eyes. And then, just as my breath started to settle, the silence broke. A rustle, then another, dry leaves shifting. I turned slowly. Lions. 7 of them, fanned out like some biblical warning. Front and center. A giant male, scars etched across his muzzle like he'd been rewriting history with his face. He looked at me. Not the gorilla. Me. Now, I don't scare easy, but that look? That look said, "Lady, you picked the wrong moment to play hero." I stood up, not tall, just enough to put myself between him and the boy I'd just risked everything for. My machete? Still lying somewhere in the dirt behind me, about as useful now as a paper umbrella in a hurricane. And then something weird happened. The lion growled, low, guttural, but not at me. He looked past me, down, behind, and that's when I realized I wasn't done being terrified. What happened next changed everything. You don't want to miss how this turned into something no one, and I mean no one, saw coming. I swear, in that moment, the air itself stopped breathing. 7 lions, 1 injured gorilla, and me, a 57-year-old woman with a sore back, a half-empty water bottle, and absolutely no plan. If there were odds in Vegas for this situation, they'd be laughing too hard to take bets. The lead male didn't move, just stared, not with hunger, not even with threat. It was something worse, curiosity. You ever had a predator study you like you're the one doing something strange? Then he growled again, deeper this time. My spine buzzed like I was sitting on a live wire. I turned my head just enough to catch it, behind me. Movement. Not lions. Not the snake. Hyenas, of course. Because when your day's already on fire, why not add a few scavengers to poke through the ashes? 3 of them, ears flat, teeth flashing like they had something to prove. And here's the kicker. They weren't circling the gorilla. They were watching me, like I was dessert and the lions were just the warm-up act. I could practically hear the jungle laughing. I backed up a step, still between everyone and the young gorilla. The lions didn't blink. The hyenas, though, started that awful yipping. The kind that makes you want to climb a tree even if you've got 2 bad knees. And here's where it got worse. One of the hyenas lunged. Not fast. More like a test. But you don't need speed to trigger panic. My hands shot up like that would somehow stop the universe from spinning. And then, it happened. The lion roared. Not a stay away kind of roar. No, this one had authority. Volume. Like thunder in a metal drum. The hyenas froze, all 3. The bold one practically tripped over himself backpedaling. And then, I kid you not, the lions moved forward. Not toward me, toward the hyenas. No one teaches you how to handle a lion stepping in like a bouncer in the middle of a turf war. But there it was. The alpha male brushed past me like I was just furniture. His eyes never left the hyenas. They backed off whimpering, defeated, outclassed, and utterly humiliated. And what did I do? I stood there shaking, trying to make sense of the fact that a lion, a full-grown, wild king of the damn jungle lion, had just defended me like some grumpy guardian angel in a fur coat. And the strangest thing? The gorilla stirred. He shifted slightly, his breathing still shallow but steadier. Like even he had sensed that something rare had happened. Something no biology textbook or ranger manual could explain. You see, I came to Africa thinking I was the one doing the saving. Flash forward 30 minutes and a lion just saved me. You want irony? There it is, dressed in golden fur and teeth. And just when I thought I could maybe breathe again, the gorilla tried to sit up. Bad idea. He moaned. Loud. Pain. Real pain. The lion twitched. His ears flicked back. I didn't even think. I knelt beside the gorilla, put my hands on his chest, and whispered, "Easy. You're safe. You're safe now." I don't know if I was lying. I think I just needed to believe it myself. The lion didn't move. But now all the others, the lionesses, they were watching me. Their gazes weren't soft. This wasn't storybook Disney. It was raw, instinctive, nature watching something it didn't fully trust. And then the alpha looked at me. Long, slow, measured. And I swear in that moment I wasn't sure if I was being judged or warned. This is the climax. Everything you've been waiting for. It's right here. Stay with me to see how the tables turned and how one decision changed the entire balance of the wild. I've seen a lot in my time. Wildfires that turn forests to smoke. Poachers with eyes colder than steel. Bureaucrats who talk about conservation from leather chairs with air conditioning. But I had never stood between a half-conscious gorilla and a pride of lions deciding what I was worth. Until that day. The alpha male didn't growl again. He just watched. And let me tell you, that kind of silence, it makes your brain itch. Every second felt like I was standing on a landmine made of instincts I didn't understand. And then, movement. Not from the lions, from the gorilla. He pushed himself up, slow, shaking, still alive, still fighting. I placed my hand gently on his back, and I swear, the moment my fingers touched his fur, he looked at me with the kind of eyes that don't belong to animals, eyes that know. And the lions, they stepped back, all of them, no sound, no snarl, just a quiet ripple through the grass as they turned, one by one, and walked away. Like royalty who had seen enough. I was too stunned to even celebrate. I just knelt there, arm over the gorilla, blinking like someone had unplugged my sense of reality. He was alert now, weak, but aware. I whispered, "You made it, buddy." And for the first time, I let out a breath I'd been holding since the python showed up. That's when the rustling came again. Not lions, not hyenas, rangers. The rescue team I didn't expect anymore. They burst through the underbrush, rifles lowered but eyes wide. One of them gasped when he saw us, like we were the wildlife. They ran over, radioed the medic team, and within minutes we had a makeshift stretcher for the gorilla. As they loaded him up, I stood to the side like a ghost, too wired to speak, too drained to cry. One ranger, older guy with a voice like gravel, asked, "You all right, ma'am?" I looked at him and, without thinking, said, "Do I look all right?" He chuckled. "You look like someone who just rewrote a few rules." Yeah, that felt right. Later, at base camp, I sat with the head conservationist, a woman named Dr. Hannah, who reviewed the footage from the drone cams they'd deployed after losing contact with me. She paused the screen on the moment the lion stood between me and the hyenas. Her exact words, "This changes things." Turns out the pride had been spotted near the rescue zones for weeks, but no one ever connected their presence with protective behavior. Until now. And that gorilla? He survived. Full recovery. Released weeks later to a monitored area with better protection, because apparently that's what it takes. A woman, a machete, a python, a lion, and a bit of faith that nature's not just brutal. It's watching. You know, people think the jungle is chaos, but it's not. It's got its own code, a twisted, unforgiving, deeply wise system of checks and balances. And sometimes, just sometimes, when you show up with nothing but nerve and good intentions, it responds. I came here thinking I was doing the saving. Turns out, I was just another creature learning the hard way that the wild doesn't owe you survival. It just witnesses what you're willing to risk. And me? I risked everything. And for once, the wild didn't bite back. It stepped aside.